Skyrim's civil war must be the most well-known, debated, and opinionated political topics in gaming. Whether you're in YouTube comment sections, Reddit forums, or even in the depths of Instagram comments, it seems you can't escape the wisdom of the debaters.
The Empire is the only thing holding the Thalmor back, and Ulfric's racist and stupid, and also works for the elves somehow too. No, the Empire is weak and foolish. They have never been good for anything and they're stupid and I hate them.
Both arguments are clearly wise and full of merit, but I am here today to get flamed on the internet, and I'm genuinely afraid of what my comments are going to look like on this one, but no. I am here today to put an end to the foolish dialogue and declare that I am right and you are wrong, with proof. It all began 26 years ago, at the climax of the Great War, and just prior to the signing of the White Gold Concordat. In the preceding weeks, the Imperial city had fallen. The Empire was meager and distraught. In heroic fashion, the ancient allies of the Empire came together. Legions of Nords from Skyrim and Redguards from Hammerfell joined and followed Emperor Titus Mede II into battle. In joint effort and force, the Imperial Alliance was able to overcome the elves and retake the Imperial city for the Empire. Exact numbers are unknown, but what we do know is that the loss of life was overwhelming for everyone involved. The battle was won, but I'd wager most of the survivors had a hard time tasting the victory. The Emperor retook his throne, standing on the backs of Nords and Redguards. He met with the leaders of the Aldmeri Dominion, vile and brutal elves, and made peace. Or did he? What did the Emperor sign that day, and for whom did he ensure peace? The White Gold Concordat did not mean peace for the Redguards, no. With the stroke of a pen, the Imperial Emperor signed away all rights to southern Hammerfell, the Redguards' ancestral homeland. One man gave it away to the elves of the Dominion, the very same elves who've been slaughtering the native Redguards of that land with vile brutality for years. Those people did not get peace. They seceded from the Empire rightfully, and after 5 years of brutal and continued violence, they won the right to their homeland after defeating the elves. They won their peace personally, without the help of an empire, after the signing of the Second Treaty of Stormcloack. I wonder what would have happened if the Empire had continued fighting with the Redguards. Would they have magically lost this conflict that the Redguards were able to win on their own without the weight of the Empire at their back? And what of the Nords? Did the Emperor guarantee them peace? The men and women of the Nordic legions marched from their homeland to fight a war for the Emperor's land. His home, not theirs. They fought, and after untold losses, what did the very same emperor they defended do? He signed away not only their freedom to religion, but he signed away history itself. He signed away Talos of Atmora's legacy. The legacy and honor of every Nord died that day. For what connected the Nords to the Empire? Was it trade? Was it tourism? No. Brotherhood connected them to the Empire. A brotherhood forged over thousands of years by their forefathers and those of the men of Cyrodiil. Their fathers fought together under the flag and name of the strongest Nord to ever live, and that bond was blood for millennia until that day. Until the supposed Emperor of all men slit the throat of that bond and forged an alliance with the elves. The Nords did not win peace that day, no. For years they watched as their fathers and mothers and friends of all kinds were torn from their homes in the night, tortured and killed for worshipping the deity that guides them. And what does the Imperial Guardsman do? What does the man who stands at the gate and who swore to defend honor and justice of the Empire do as the elves spill the blood of the innocent in the street? He watches and tries to look away. Any true Nord would call that man gutless and a coward. Who, then, one piece that day 25 years ago. Titus Mede II did. He cared not for the honor and homeland of those who fought to defend his honor and his homeland, nay, he had forsaken them. The Empire and its persuasion is strong, for countless arguments can be made to fool you, but I'll tell you here today, the Empire cares for no one but itself. Every argument made by Imperial loyalists displays this truth when laid bare. I will prove that to you here. The Empire will declare that the only way to stand against the Thalmor is by standing united together against them. They are not wrong, no, they speak the truth, but under false pretense and manipulated story. For who is to say that the unity of man must be under the old and frail Emperor? Who is to say that the Nords and Redguards cannot stand together independent of the Imperial King of old? Who is to say that the Bretons too would not leave the bedside of the dying empire and forge a new alliance? The alliance of the Northern men. The Imperials do not mean to say that man cannot survive without the Empire. They mean to say that Cyrodiil cannot survive without the Empire. And what do I say to that? I say, let it fall. Let the kings of old be gone, and let the heroes of today rise up in alliance against the elves. The loyalists will stand and say that Ulfric Stormcloak is a fool for wanting to take the fight to the elves, and will at the same time declare that without the Empire the Thalmor would take over Tamriel. They mean to look you in the eye and declare that Ulfric Stormcloak is wrong for wanting to take war to the elves, and at the same time expect you to believe that he wouldn't take that war to the shores of Hammerfell or High Rock. They would lead you to believe that the man who wants to wage war on the elves wouldn't do so in defense of his neighboring nations. Any man can see through that lie. Yet again they mean to say that Ulfric would not lead a defense of Cyrodiil. For it is not the nations of man that they care for, but only the nation of Imperials. Do not let them fool you with this lie. What did the Empire do for its nations during the Oblivion Crisis? Cowards, like always, they left us to die as they withdrew their men to return and fight at home. How did that work out for the Dark Elves, Do you blame them for abandoning the Empire then? The Empire has only ever helped itself. A true empire would let the Imperial city burn if it meant maintaining Redguard land and Nordic freedom. It would stand up for what is right and true, and not throw out honor for a comfy place to rest their heads at night. The Loyalists say to bide time, to wait and watch the elves. They say this while the oldest that were born that day that paper was signed are now 25 years old. They are adults, raised in a land without its heritage. They are now having families of their own, and the wandering days of their youth, the most important for a young Nord, are now behind them. What will you tell them? Will you tell them to raise their kids the same way? Will you tell them to bide more time as the 300-year-old elves say the same, and wait until our traditions die over the next few generations? No, the time for waiting is over. The age of strength is now. Let Cyrodiil fall. Let the elves close in upon us, and let's watch as they freeze to death in the Gerald Mountains. Let us watch as the sky darkens and the earth quakes with the power of Ulfric's mighty Thun. Let's watch as they try to take land from Hammerfell, High Rock, and Skyrim. And let's watch them fail. The elves are not gods, no. We can overcome them. The Imperials would lead you to believe that their empire is a god, and one that cannot fail. That, my friends, is the greatest lie of all. Well, there you have it. That is my strongest argument in favor of the Stormcloaks. But there's much more as well. I want to mention here that a lot of the time I see discussion being had online about this, people have very modern views in their conversations. We must remember that there are a few truths in the Elder Scrolls that make your average social argument much more nuanced. First of all, there is no concept of modern democracy in Tamriel, under the Emperor or any other nation. So arguments that paint the other side as being dictators or monarchs are just kind of pointless. Yes, Ulfric Stormcloak will be a monarch dictator if he wins, but that is exactly what the Emperor is. It's not like that really matters or changes things. Also, people will always bring up that the Nords are racist in Skyrim, so siding with the Empire seems right. But anybody who's played Morrowind has to just laugh at this. The Nords have nothing on how racist the Dark Elves are. And just like real-world history, Tamriel is a melting pot of racism. Every race has had multiple racial disputes against every other race. None of them are innocent. The Imperials actively tread on the right of Khajiits and Argonians in Breville and Leowyn, which we can see while playing Oblivion. And parallel to the Romans of the real world, the Empire has destroyed countless cultures and native practices for the sake of providing justice to the world through the Legion. In the Elder Scrolls, these kinds of arguments just don't work, and I wanted to sort that out after I gave my little speech. I'd also like to point to a specific character from Morrowind. At the climax of the main story of that game, the player can meet a man named Wolf. Without going into too much explanation here, Wolf is actually an avatar of Talos himself come down to Nirn. And remember that Talos founded the Empire as we know it, so when I read this dialogue to you, keep that in mind. In-game, Wolf will say, "The Emperor is getting old. Don't know how much longer he'll hang on. So is the whole Empire, for that matter. Getting old, that is. The Emperor and the legions have held the Empire together for hundreds of years. It's been a good thing, by and large, but maybe it's time for change. Time for something young and new." What? No idea. Because I'm old. Old dog doesn't get new ideas. But maybe young folks like you should try some new ideas. I don't know. Could be messy, but change is never pretty. Talos himself points to the fact that it may be time for something new in Tamriel. My whole argument for the Stormcloaks that you just heard is based around the fact that the Empire as we know it does not need to exist for a lasting alliance between men. Talos himself seems to insinuate that just here. And remember that this quote is taken about 175 years before the end of the Great War, so time has been ticking. There is so much to talk about with the Skyrim Civil War, and I feel like I've hardly scratched the surface here. I just got to writing in the moment and was like, this is sick, I gotta post this. So if you guys enjoyed this video, please let me know, and I could probably make 1 or 2 more videos about this. I'd also like to talk about some of the more interesting arguments about Ulfric, concerning his past and his ties to the Thalmor and that kind of stuff. And if you totally disagree with me, I probably don't have to tell you this because the comments will be full of these whether I ask for it or not, but please leave your disagreements and Imperial sympathies in the comments. If I see a lot of people commenting the same thing, I probably won't respond individually, and I'll just make a new video and include that argument in the video. I also feel like this goes without saying, but please stay civil down there. You can easily see merit on both sides of this debate. It's just for fun. And that is exactly why we're still talking about it so many years later. There's no true and right answer on either side. It's just fun to, talk about. I recognize the validity of more than one Imperial argument, so I hope no one feels too attacked by this. For now, I have been Sir Schmib. I hope you all have a beautiful day. Until next time.